Alicia, are you there?
Hey, Scott.
Oh, I can't believe it. It's a miracle.
Is Debbie in here?
Do you know what? She isn't, but I heard from her just a little bit earlier that she sent me kind of a friend thing for it, so I know she's planning on it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So how are you doing? You look comfortable.
Yeah. It's the end of a summer day, right?
It is. It is.
How have you been?
I'm not doing good. Do you know, just so you're aware of this, I am recording this in case. One reason is that I needed to know how to do it because the students wanted to know how to do it, and then
Gotcha.
if we talk about something important, I can rewind and watch it. So,
Yeah, totally reasonable.
how did your semester go?
It went well. This was a good semester. I don't remember if I talked with you about this at the beginning of the semester or not, but I started doing critiques during office hours. So I had students coming live, and we were participating in the critiques together, and it turned out just awesome. I developed some really good rapport with the students, and I was just overall really pleased with it. So yeah, I think this was one of the best semesters, probably primarily because of that. So hopefully I can
Did
continue doing that.
did you
Go ahead.
have did you have any students that were unable to participate that way?
Yeah, so I usually end up with between 20 and 22 students. I inevitably have a couple that drop in the beginning, and of that 20 to 22, I usually end up with at most 10 students who come. Sometimes, I'll have I had a couple of students that would come regularly every single week. But then I had other students who would drop in one week and then they'd skip a week and then they'd come another week. And so the way I handled it was we had, two critiques a week for two assignments. And so the Tuesday critiques, I would give everyone a written critique. So everyone was able to get something from me during the week. But then on Thursday, I just said, if you're able to make it during this 2-hour window, then great. Otherwise, listen to the recording and try to learn from the other students. And it seemed to work out fine. I haven't gone over the reviews yet from the surveys that they send out to the students, but I got a lot of positive feedback from the kids who participated in the critiques. So, and I didn't really get any complaints from the others. I mean, I didn't hear anything from them directly. I don't know what their surveys say, but I'll get in there and find out and see how that went. But now that we're talking about changing to one critique a week, I might end up having to change that. So just have to figure that out as we go.
Well, we'll talk about that. One of the idea is that there's one major critique a week, and then
Mhm.
there's another one that's optional. Which, when you say optional, immediately you have fewer students
Yeah.
because fewer students take advantage of that. And the other thing is, I'm wondering if that critique can be handled mostly with rubric feedback. For
Mhm.
example, when they're doing sketches, if they want to know, is it okay to move on? Have I got enough to move on? That's
Right.
You can say you've got enough. You can move on. You're going to be all right. And
Mhm.
sometimes that's all they need just to move forward.
Yeah, that's a
So
good idea.
so I'm gonna try to send an invitation to Debbie one more time here,
Okay.
and then we'll start talking.
I also set up a required discussion board toward the end of the semester, like you had suggested that Tony had done,
Uh
so that
huh.
I could figure out, who was participating in providing peer critiques on the blog, and that turned out really well. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try that again this semester. I'm wondering if we ought to have course improvement add that permanently into the course, because that was really effective. Everyone participated that time, so it was a good experiment.
So tell me how was it set up? And as far as course improvement, we will do it. It'll be in there.
Okay.
I could add it tonight if I wanted. So
Oh, great. Okay. I basically just set up a discussion board and asked them um, to pick someone who had not been critiqued yet, and to post their critique. I actually had them do it on the discussion board instead of the blog. Obviously, we could do it just with a blog link, so they could just insert a link and I can go and check out their critiques to each other. But I put a timestamp on it so that they had to have it done in time for the other students to be able to benefit from the critique. And I think I had probably 90% participation. So it was really simple. It was just a discussion board that had a timestamp on it and a little bit of instructions. So.
Okay. One of the things I was thinking about is that there is a peer review mechanism in iLearn that's a little bit different that I've used just once before. But what that does is you set up a Likert scale, so like good, better, best kind of thing, and then you can select it so that you could do something so that each week the students are in a random group, and so 5 different people or 3 different people will review your work. Those reviews are anonymous to everyone but the instructor.
Oh, okay.
And then it also averages that Likert scale. The student sees an average of that.
Oh, that sounds great.
From the feedback. So that's something we can experiment with, and you can give feedback there. The disadvantage of that is the only people that see that feedback are that group of three or 4 people instead of everybody in the whole discussion group.
Right.
And another thought that I had is to have them post a link to their PDF in the discussion board. And so then you could go on, and instead of going to the blog, you go open the PDF and you could give them the feedback directly there. Does that sound like it would work?
Yeah, that sounds like it would work as well. I think, in addition to that, if there was a way that we could make it so that it affected their grade just even a small amount, I think that was also an incentive for them to actually get in there and leave the critiques. I mean, I wish they would do it just out of the goodness of their hearts, but they don't always do that, and I think maybe having that small incentive might help as well.
Okay. One other thing that I discovered is that with students I was having difficulty with them giving feedback to one another, particularly with electronics and stuff. They'd be in class and they were tuned out. And I started talking to them, starting using the terminology of art director, and how I've heard often many of them say that they want to be art directors. And if they want to be art directors, they need to be good critiquers. And so that critique is actually the skill for them to learn to be an art director. And they seem to identify with that concept.
Yeah, that's a great thought. I like that.
Do you know, I'm going to go through, I'm going to open up I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to open up the process book that I've got, and we'll walk through that.
Sounds great.
See how that goes. Please tell me when you can see my screen. I'm still a little bit new at this.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see that?
I can see the screen.
All right. So just the thought is, I know that you've seen this, but that there's a little bit of instructions on what they need to do here. I've got this, and this will be set up so that, let me bring that in, so that in layers, this layer right here, it'll actually be turned off for them, so that when they use the W key, it will hide the the instructions, so they can see it, what it's going to look like before or after.
When they first open the document, will they see the instructions, or will they be hidden?
Do you know, when we could make it available, we could put this on this one page, we can put it on there,
on the front.
And we could have them go actually and turn it in so it does hide. Come in here and turn that on that way. So there's that, and then I've got everything set up in an automatic generating table of contents. I'm not sure that's going to work depending on if they'll need to name things correctly, or um, we'll need to um, we'll need to have them set it up themselves. One of the things that I tried to do in the previous one, I thought I was helping, and it made everything complicated when I tried to make links for the students. So
Mm-hmm.
I've taken a bunch of that out. So cover page, I put quotes here, and I'm almost tempted to have them replace the quote with a different one, just so that they get to see more type quotes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very first week, I haven't done the online classes, so you can help me know if this is going to work or not. But on the first week, I know that they have the introduction assignment, um, and so I was thinking about using this as the introduction assignment. So they fill in this information here and answer the questions. Um, a block quote there,
Mm-hmm.
and then put an image in here and add a caption. And then I've got it set up so that that this is all set up so that it's got a wrap on it. And if they want to increase the photograph
Oh, great.
in size, they can place the photos in there and design this page. And I wanted them to start thinking about the way working with a grid, the way that the grid is working here, and the rhythm of the
Mm-hmm.
page and things like that. So that was a thought that I was working on.
Yeah, that was one
Um,
of the comments I was going to make. I think this is absolutely great, giving them more and more practice with setting type and doing that throughout the semester. I think is a really, really great thing.
um, and then let me go to the next page. Did that change for you, or are you still seeing
Um,
other?
I'm seeing composing with glyphs, digital sketches,
That's it.
instruction.
That's it.
Okay.
So we're still on the right screen, and
Mm-hmm.
so this is this. So here's the beginning of chapter 2. This is composing with glyphs, so they do the thumbnail sketches right here. I made all of these boxes right here 8.5 by 11 proportion, so that they don't have to crop anything unusual sizes or anything like that. They just scan the whole page.
Awesome.
So
That's great.
before I had the little crop marks and tried, but that didn't work. And then I've got these numbered 1, 2, 3, so that they can drag them over here and put them where they on the sans serif or serif. That's another thing is I put
Perfect.
sans serif or serif. You can, if students don't have Garamond or Helvetica, you have a little bit of flexibility to work with them on what they can use for that
Okay.
um, on this here. And then so they would do these sketches, and this would be the point when they would, if they wanted to do what I call a quick crit, they
Mm-hmm.
could either send this page in or export this page, and that would be the page that they would submit for quick crit to get feedback on whether they're going in the right direction.
Oh, great. Okay. Is that in the instructions? I didn't see it.
Do you know what that is? Let me show you where that is. Let's see if I can.
Now, do
Uh,
you do kind of a brief demo with the workbook at the beginning of the semester? I mean, do you walk through all of this with the students?
do you know, I've not ever done it exactly this way before. I usually walk through the workbook each time I give the students the piece, but this is the first time I've had the whole thing all together this way.
Mm-hmm.
So in here, what I've got here is you do thumbnails. Oh, I'm going to jump ahead to chapter 4 to show you how this is going to work. This is the way it would
Okay.
work. There would be thumbnail sketches like this, and
Mm-hmm.
then there would be a quick crit, and it would have things like idea variety. Did you not so good or really good? Idea quality, lacks imagination, really good. Were the sketches clear? Because sometimes they just scribble.
Mm-hmm.
And then self-assessment, whether they made good choices or not. Um, and so have a rubric like this set up, and that quick crit thing would be set here, right? I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but here's what I was thinking for the typical week. That the module would start on Monday, and I'm thinking at noon on Monday, And then the quick critique, they need to turn something in by Wednesday at noon.
Mhm.
Um, or it could be a live critique Wednesday evening.
Mhm.
So that that could solve the feedback on that. And then
Yeah.
they get and so I was thinking turn it in Wednesday at noon, get the rubrics back by Thursday at noon, and then Friday at noon they need to have the rest of the module done.
Okay. Okay. Mhm.
And then when they turn everything in Friday at noon, that gives the instructor half a day Friday, Saturday, and half a day Monday to get feedback to them by Monday at noon for the next part of the assignment.
Okay.
And this is
I
also when they do peer feedback.
I think the only thing I'm concerned about with the noon deadlines is that
Mhm.
a lot of the online students are working during the day, or a lot of them are stay-at-home moms. And then, I obviously have that same situation. I think Debbie works during the day and then does the course at night. So I kind of wonder if maybe an evening deadline would be more appropriate for the online students, just to make sure that they have the evening to get everything finished. Do you
As
see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. What I was trying to figure out, here's what I was trying to figure out. One is I'm trying not to get them to do homework on Sunday.
Uh-huh.
And so
Mhm.
giving them a little bit of time Monday morning gives them a chance. But if we take that whole day Monday, I guess we could have it due Monday at midnight
Mhm.
and Friday at midnight. But if we do that for as an instructor, that gives you all day Monday though. Is that going to be okay if you have Saturday, Sunday, Monday?
Yeah, I think that works out just fine. It's just shifting everything a little bit.
Yeah, so it's shifting everything a half a step.
Mhm.
So we'll do them at midnight on Monday and midnight on Friday.
Okay. That
And
sounds great.
the other thing is right here with the peer feedback. I'm thinking that at the same time the instructor's doing feedback here, the students have to do peer feedback here as well.
Great.
So
Mhm.
they're giving feedback to the other students, and it's all due by midnight on well, it'll be midnight on Monday night here.
Okay.
So let
Mhm.
me. I've got it recorded so I can go through this again. Um, so I'll make adjustments to that. One other, I'm sorry, this is a little bit random today. Another thing that I'm looking at is that I know that these are the outcomes that we've had in the course, these ones right here.
Mhm.
And I just went to a conference, and at the conference, there was some talk about something called core competencies. And I've heard outcomes before, but I've never heard the competency term before.
Mhm.
And but the example that they gave that made sense to me is if you're a business student, they want you to write 3 business plans while you're in school. And that would be considered, you would be considered competent if you could do that. And so I wanted to look at areas of quality like quality of design, communication and substance, craftsmanship, typography, technical skills, conceptual sketching, research, professional skills in writing. And
Mhm.
so these right here are kind of just random statements off the top of our heads, actually. And this is a little bit this is a little bit more focused as far
Uh-huh.
as demonstrate. And then also this will be kind of when we do. I'm trying to figure out how to get the Likert scale kind of thing working, so that if students really are doing poorly in one of the things, like they just really are missing on craft, that we can
Mhm.
grade them low, and it doesn't like totally mess their grade up. But some of them aren't really performing to an adequate level, and but if you give them less than a 8, then they freak out on their grade. So
Right.
anyway, so I'm looking at the objectives right here and here. This I just put this stuff in this afternoon. I'm just looking at possibly adjusting the objectives for the class. I think they're the similar thing, but just worded differently. So
Okay. Gotcha. So
um,
you're thinking that you're going to combine those somehow?
either combine them or there'll just be one of them.
Okay.
There will just be one of them that's there, and
Mhm.
um, um, and it will be the outcomes is what. And
Now, is
so
this is this in the Dropbox then?
Um, this file right here,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
do you know, it was in the Dropbox at one time, and I'm not sure it's still there now, but I can put it back up in the Dropbox.
Okay.
Are you in Creative Cloud?
You know, I still have not gotten that working, but I'm glad you reminded me. I've got plenty of time to get that going over the next couple of weeks. So,
Well, you can, but another kind of nice thing is that when you export, like if I were to go here and export or package this, it
hmm.
actually packages an IDML file automatically.
Oh, okay.
But the challenge with IDML files is that they always open up as untitled.
Oh,
So
okay.
just need to get them to save things. So we have the syllabus here. In this assignment, they'll download this entire thing all at once. So they'll have everything.
Great.
So the whole thing comes at one time.
And it's
But it's
right up front.
it's the very first thing they do. In fact, they do this week one,
hmm.
and then these instructions right here. Let me show you what the website will look like.
Okay.
If I let's see, I want to do this. So this is what they'll see. So they'll see this, and then the module. This is what you open. Um, it will explain what the table of contents is, to your cover page, what a ponder page is, and this is the first time they do a ponder page. And so then they explore, they can do all this stuff. So all the instructions are there, and as well as put a rubric of the things that we're looking for in that week. So when we grade, this is what the expectation is.
No,
I'll
I'm
try to
still
make
looking
that
at
clear.
your InDesign file.
You
Are
didn't
you?
see that new file, huh? Here,
Mhm.
let me do. Thank you, and I'll start over here.
Okay.
Can you see that now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what the when they log into iLearn,
hmm.
it'll have the buttons off to the left, and then they'll see this.
Okay.
So it will show each of the pages that they're supposed to complete.
Perfect.
The table of contents. This can also be exported as an EPUB or a PDF file that they can look through and read all. So they have access to this other ways.
Oh,
And
that's great.
then they do that first ponder page, and then right here at the bottom is a rubric of exactly what's expected of them, so they know what the goals are for this particular assignment. So in this one, for example, they didn't attempt it, it's incomplete, or didn't follow the specifications, or it's complete. So it's pretty simple there.
Great. I mean, just from what I'm seeing here, I mean, I think the instructions are so much more clear. I think you've done an amazing job with this.
I've tried to do is keep all of the instructions here and
Mm-hmm.
all of the teaching stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where, so I'm calling this the content page. So anything that we, anything that's in this chapter comes here. And so all of everything they need for the module is located right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's what we're going through right there. And, and so that's what so when it exports, this is what it looks like in InDesign. And when it exports, these get larger. And otherwise, it just takes up too many pages.
Great.
Um, but just so that you can see, once this InDesign file is done, it really is just a matter of file, export, save,
Mm-hmm.
replace, okay, and then the page is done.
Awesome.
And so it's plugged into all the CSS and everything already. So
Well, so it's a quick fix then.
It
So
is.
you're able to make change. You're able to make all the content changes yourself, and
And
it's a fairly quick
I
process.
make them in InDesign. And then the other thing is that I just I just got FTP access to the course, so it's really easy to upload.
Oh, great.
And it's
That is.
also the other thing is it's also directly embedded in the class. It's not linking out of the class. It stays right in iLearn.
Oh, okay. So when you make changes, it should just automatically update within iLearn.
Yes, when I make changes, can you tell me? Did you see a change here? Can you see that when we make changes, it's just a
Mm-hmm.
matter of selecting right here and saying refresh or whatever, or I select a file right here
Uh-huh.
and say um, upload. That's it. And this is actually the live iLearn course right there.
Oh, fantastic. All right.
Okay, so yes, it's much easier to do. Much easier to do.
Yeah.
All right. So this the second week. This is the first week where we start working.
Mm-hmm.
We do the sketches, and then we do the digital sketches, and that's all given as one assignment, where before that had been two separate assignments. Um, and then the skill set, this typeface right here, is
Mm-hmm.
where they match the typefaces to the images, is what we're going to see right there on that one. And then a ponder page and ask some questions about all of these different things that were here. There also is, with this typeface right here, a discussion board, and they go on and they answer questions like, tell us about a scar and stuff like that. So they're actually having a discussion like that on the discussion board,
Oh, okay.
so they can get all of the information directly off the discussion board. And I think that we'll have them post an image of themselves on the discussion board too, so that you can do that, can't you?
Have a discussion on, I'm sorry,
Can
repeat.
can you post an image? Or
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we can give them specifications for the image that they need to post here, and they can do that on the discussion board.
Great.
Okay,
Okay.
and then
Now,
we
as far as due dates go, can you just tell me how that would work, just with that one as an example then?
okay.
Um,
So it
so you
would
were talking about only turning it in once, but then when we were going over a typical schedule, you said that they would submit things on Monday and then something else on Friday. So I'm just trying to figure out which part is due on Monday and which part's due on Friday.
okay. This this Monday, or I guess it would be Tuesday. Now, based on our change, they would start the new module. So it would go from Tuesday at 12:01 to Monday night. This right
Mm-hmm.
here would be the quick crit optional critique if they wanted midweek,
Okay.
but they don't have to.
Okay.
And then this would be due Thursday. They would need to download the entire module,
Uh-huh.
and that would be due Thursday at midnight. And that
Okay.
and the module that they would send you would look like this.
Okay.
So they would see that you could see which ones they selected right here.
Mm-hmm.
You could see that what they did for this right here, and then you could see this assignment, and you could read their ponder page. So that's the only file you would get, and you would have everything in one chunk.
Awesome. Okay. That
Does
looks
that make
good.
does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Um, if everything makes sense to me in my head, but it all did before, and I realized it got a little bit complicated. So if it ever gets too complicated, just let me know,
All right. Sounds
and we'll
good.
do it.
Well, I
Um,
think I have access to the fall course that you've been editing already. So I
okay,
could actually kind of walk through things a little bit before the semester ever starts and send you any issues that I
okay,
come across.
okay, and I will, and I'm not, and I'll just keep working on this, and the things that would help me is if you read through this, if you see any typos, obviously, we don't
Mm-hmm.
want those, but also if things don't sound clear or based on your experience, if the students aren't getting something that they need.
Okay.
Um, I have thought also of doing just a little short, maybe 30-second, 1 minute video that says on this page you're supposed to do this and this,
Mm-hmm.
just so that just kind of walk them through the process and show them how to drag the numbers um, and how to place a file from
Mm-hmm.
Illustrator, um, and what this file should look like. So
Yeah, they love the videos. Videos are definitely a hit.
okay, okay, that's good to know because they're nerve wracking to make.
I know. I mean, you can kind of go through and make them a couple of times and still not be quite happy with it, but
Yeah, I just if I just need to plow through that to do it. I know that they like once they. I think it just helps. The one thing that we need, if we're going to do videos, we need to do it um, early enough that we can have um, some translation done or something, so that if we have any um, hearing impaired students, that
mm-hmm.
they have access to this. So, um, but I'll work on that. So we'll do them. But I've got, as you look through this, as you go through this whole process book, um, um, I think that I've got all of the pages. Let's just go through this real quick. Oh, I've got to open. If the students want to add any additional pages or things, they're welcome to do that. That's not going to be a problem.
Okay.
So we've been through, let's go view.
Now, I noticed in the table of contents it looked like you had them importing some of their exercises as well. Am I wrong?
The exercise is built into the module.
Okay, great.
Everything is in one place.
Yeah, that was one of the questions that I would get every semester was whether or not they should import their exercises, and there was never really a place for it. So I just told them no. Um, anyway, that sounds great. So they'll be able to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that
I
now.
export, for example, right here it says visual audit. That's
Mm-hmm.
the type journal.
Oh,
And
great.
I
Okay.
put this, I'm starting to put this under the category of research. And
Uh-huh.
under research, just so that they're so used to thinking, I think research is associated with their research paper in high school, that they think it's about gaining new resources or something. But
Mm-hmm.
I want them to think of research as something that allows them to do something that they didn't know before. It stretches their level of knowledge just a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's the that's the way it would go. So there's one, that's the first pond page from the first week. Here's the beginning of module 2. There's the thumbnail sketches, the digital sketches. This is an activity, the skills activity of matching the typefaces,
Mm-hmm.
and learning that it has personality. This is their ponder page for that week. Um, and I want them to ask them if they use their sketches. Ask them this right here. Ask about the quote. Amateurs, no other aspect can amateurs be so easily distinguished from professionals. I wondered what they thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the beginning of module 3. This is their variations where they do the 12 art boards. I didn't know the size right there, so I put 0, but they do the 12 art boards and then they choose one, and that's their final piece there.
Great. Okay.
And then they have the final sans serif and serif copy right there.
Mm-hmm.
this right here, I did. Um, I got rid of. I'm just going to have them actually identify at least 5 different anatomical parts.
Mhm.
The reason I want to do that is because the spine only literally exists on the S,
Mhm.
and so I've been twisting that a little bit, saying anywhere that a curve adjusts into another curve, like on a 2,
Mhm.
and some 5s do it, but
Or
um,
an 8.
or an 8. And so it feels like that I was always kind of stretching to try to make these fit. The other thing is a stroke. Anything they point to is a stroke. So
Right.
so so I'm gonna have them do 5 different pieces of anatomy, and then they can just drag the dots to identify them on here and identify them there.
Oh, great. I
So
love this. This is so
that one's
much more
there.
clear.
This one is the build-up lettering, the G build-up lettering here. There's a little place for them to make a little quote right here, and it tells them complete it and scan it. And this worksheet or PDFs is probably there's probably going to need to be another document that will exist that will have that content for them. So
Okay.
that was normally an exercise before, and this
Mhm.
was normally an exercise before the type journal.
Right.
I have thought on the type journal to give them kind of themes, like maybe one of the themes could be grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
One of them could be, I don't know if we dare do church, but
Right.
right. But I'm just so that they, like maybe one of them could be screen captures, like that
Uh-huh.
they're going around, just so that they're looking in different places.
Or store signs or
Stores like
something like that.
outside exterior signage.
Mhm.
We could have one things printed on the ground,
Oh, yeah, that would be
um,
fun.
just so that they start. It stretches them a little bit. Versus, I got so tired of seeing Jiffy peanut butter,
Yes.
whatever food was in their closet.
Yes, yes. Well, and I like that you have this spread throughout the semester so that they're constantly looking instead of. I had a lot of students who would wait until the last week and then all of a sudden, like you said, they would go down the grocery store aisle and only take pictures of things down the grocery store aisle.
Hmm.
So I like.
Another thing that my wife just took some online classes, and she said that she there were times when she needed to work ahead a little bit. This
Mhm.
is one place that students could work ahead a little bit if they wanted.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
definitely.
and I think that we can point that out to them that that's a possibility.
Mhm.
Um, and so then there's the ponder page here, and this one would have their serif and sans serif compositions in there, and they complete this right here. And then module 4, they do the monogram research. This is where they go out and find the different monograms.
Mhm.
This one is the monogram personalities, and I actually didn't let them choose. And they're going to do it themselves. I put energetic and calm, formal and casual, spontaneous, planned, or something like that. So, and they can build these little things. I got rid of the group assignment. I don't know if they even did them as a group. Did they ever do it as a group for you?
You know, the group assignments were never very successful. Trying to think if there was one that was successful. Most of them, I would get one excuse or another over why they couldn't get it done. So, group assignments are definitely difficult online. I mean, if you want to keep one or two, then I would definitely just keep it to a minimum and not have so many.
Okay.
Especially, let's see. One of the assignments that they would kind of cheat a little bit on, I guess, if you want to put it that way, was the paragraph styles
Right.
exercise, where they were supposed to give each other their articles. They would just go find another article online and say they couldn't get a hold of their group. That was the kind of thing that I would get from the students. So
That's fine.
yeah,
You
I did try changing up the groups to keep that from happening, because I think in past semesters when they stayed in the same group all semester, they got even more comfortable feeling like, oh, half of my group never participates, and so I'm just going to go take care of this myself. Um, it still didn't completely solve the problem, but it helped.
If I had to choose what I'd like them to do as groups, I really would like them to give feedback to each other.
Likewise. Mm-hmm.
So versus being involved in, I don't want them to feel like they're jumping through hoops or doing busy work.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the goal of this page is to recognize that a monogram isn't just the letters; it's saying something.
Mm-hmm.
That's that, and if they get that, that's all they need to get from this page.
Perfect.
So, and then there's the concept development sketches for their monograms, which is just ways to combine the letters. I'm starting to my students are getting a little bit hung up on the thumbnails. Some of them spend way too much time on them, and they come in. Oh, I spent
Mm-hmm.
100 hours. I'm
Mm-hmm.
exaggerating, but I spent 18 hours,
Right.
and I'm saying that sketches should take them less than a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were to set this page right here, if they were to set an alarm clock that rang once a minute, they could be
Mm-hmm.
done in a half hour.
Yeah, I like that.
So
Yeah, I
the
usually try to tell them to do quick sketches and then to go back and refine the sketches because I think that's where a lot of them get hung up. They think that their sketches need to be perfect right up front. And so they'll just do, they'll painfully go through making one perfect sketch and then the next perfect sketch. So I really try to encourage them to just do quick sketches and then if they want to go back and perfect them, they can. But just to get the ideas on paper, that's really the point of um, doing a sketch, right?
Right. That's the philosophy that I'm taking. Because the other thing is, even if they spend a bunch of time being trying to be accurate, they're not
Hmm.
going to be. And
Right.
and the next step, they add real type to it, and then it doesn't do what they tried.
Yeah.
So I'm, even if they're just drawing lines and trying to figure out how these things could connect, or that's all I'm looking for on this page. And I'm looking
Yep.
for a minimum of also start thinking about, is it serif or sans serif? If you can
Hmm.
tell, if I can tell whether it's serif or sans serif, then I'm kind of, that's okay. Give me just a little bit that way. Uh,
Hmm.
but like this should take them half hour. So that's my thought on the thumbnails. I
Yep.
agree with you. I think we're on the same page with that. And
Yep.
then also I have right here for them to describe it, and they can drag and drop these 5 little things on the 5 things that they think are working.
Okay. Great.
And the premise of that is that when they get to this page and start doing the digital refinements,
Hmm.
that they have that page to look at and they can start with making those. And I'm having them make the monograms about that big and place them inside of this page, and then choose their top 3 here.
Oh, nice. Hmm.
Um,
Clean up the presentation a lot.
and then do a stationary recreation. I'm also
Hmm.
thinking of providing a Pinterest board that has stationary systems they can choose from,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
because they pick really bad stationary systems.
Yes, they do.
Um,
I
I,
agree.
so they pick bad ones, and so it doesn't do them a whole lot of good. The other reason, and the reason I put a pencil in there, is that we're with the online stuff, we're starting to run into issues that students don't understand scale,
Mm.
and so I want them to have reference to life, something
Hmm.
something that's the same size, so they can, or that they have context to. So this is stationary recreation. And last semester, for the first time, I told them that I was most concerned about the way they grouped um, and communicated their typography, not the graphic elements that they tried to put on the outside of everything.
Hmm.
And I got some pretty good grouping. It took most of a class period of walking around saying, no, instead of putting it all together, put your emails together, put your phone numbers together, your fax, and just so that
Hmm.
there's a logical way to put things together. Um,
Hmm.
we are discovering something, and we don't know how much of a trend it's going to be, but it's kind of a shocking surprise that we came up with.
Hmm.
Graphic designers, according to Communication Arts and according to our experience of what students are getting paid, um, are starting at about $35,000 a year. On the other hand, interaction designers are starting in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Um, there, Family Search and other places will take as many people as we can turn out if they can think through um, what the audience wants. What does the user need?
Mhm.
And so those are kinds of questions that I want to start asking. For example, what is a business card for? Why do you use it? What kind of information? So who needs it? And then when they give it away, what do they need? So if we can start that kind of philosophy of the way that they're talking, um, so user experience becomes a major concern. It's it's making a significant difference in their pay.
Okay, that makes sense.
If you look at communication arts, I think it's the typographic annual this year. On the very back page, inside
Mhm.
that cover, is the salary survey that has that information on it. I thought it was just kind of weird and that we had a strange thing happening, and then it was backed up by that, and so I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I had no idea.
Interaction. I have a student that's been out of school for about 3 years. He's an interaction designer for Wizards of the Coast, making
Mhm.
over 100.
Oh wow, that is a huge pay
I never
difference.
even it never even crossed my mind that I could make more than 100.
Right.
It still doesn't cross my mind.
No.
But our students, we've got about 5 students right now at Family Search working for the church that all started between 72 to 78. So
That is quite the discrepancy. That's interesting.
the difference is if they can think about the audience, they're more valuable. So the that anyway, that was the point of thinking about. I think it was stationary systems and what is information for. Why did
Mhm.
you put that there? How is someone going to use it?
Now,
This right
is
here.
that going to be part of a discussion board then, or is this part of their workbook? That I mean, do you have any kind of questions like that in here?
I do. I think it's in the next one coming up, actually. So
Okay.
this page is the visual audit right there, and I think that we should pick some fun locations so that these are kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I think that we can come up with some really like type on the ground. I think that just come up
I
that I
love
think that's
type on the
interesting.
ground. Mhm.
So and then I don't have anything more in here, but this gives you an idea of how I'm thinking that that page will look filled up. So um, and then this module, they have the 3 designs, and they choose their best one for their station for their monogram.
Mhm.
This is sketches for their stationary systems, and then they choose their best things here. I probably need to give them specifics on the number of sketches they need to make. And then they do 3 digital sketch systems.
Mhm.
And then I don't know what I'm doing. I don't exactly know what's happening with this page yet, but what I want them to learn is typographic grouping, where they group. And I think that
Logical pieces of information.
some logical connections, like maybe give them some samples of 5 or 6 different chunks of information, addresses or something like that, and say
Mhm.
group these. You can't change the size. The only thing you can do to give hierarchy is to group
Yeah, I like
together.
that. Mhm.
So this is an exercise right here,
Okay.
and then there's a type journal again. There's one a week for 8 weeks.
Now, maybe with that typographic grouping, could we just add just a little bit in there about letting and letter spacing?
Yes,
Um, okay, great.
yes, and because that's basically what's happening. It's yes,
Mhm.
um, and then it's right here. Okay, this how will someone you meet know what you do? And so I want them to start thinking things like, for some reason, they don't say they're a graphic designer when they make their systems, or
Mhm.
they don't say they're a web designer or a front-end web designer. They just make a system, and it's like, well, what do you do? Like,
Yeah.
how? So, what will someone know what you do? What's the purpose of a business letter? How might you use it? And they'll say, I won't use it. I don't write a letter. And I've got some a little bit of ammunition from some stuff for that one of how it's the most common um, piece of um,
Stationary.
Stationery is the most common way to communicate who you are in your business. And then what's the purpose of business card? How might you use it? This is really interesting. I've seen a whole article that business cards, if they have a website or an email on them, that's all you need. But I still want them to have a little bit beefier chunk of stuff
More
to work with.
information.
Purpose of an envelope, it's just a return address. It needs the logo on their return address. So they don't need everything on there. And then business stationery systems have two users. What are the needs of the person writing the letter, which they don't think about sometimes. They design things right into the middle of the page. So someone has to use it. Someone has to write on it.
Yeah, it's got to be functional.
And then someone has to read it. So, and then why is this important to ask these kinds of questions? So I don't know if this addresses what you were thinking about, but when I talk about thinking about why am I making this? This is what I'm trying to address here.
Yep.
And then the final stationery system. And then this right here, have you used, I think that it may be a weird trend that will turn into a nightmare for us. I think it will actually, but have you ever used PSD covers?
No, I don't think I have actually.
Do you know what it is?
No.
All right. PSD covers is a website that is Photoshop actions.
Oh, okay.
And the first action you run actually creates a Photoshop file the correct size, and then you put your document, and then like a business card, you put your front and back on the Photoshop file, and then you run the second action, and it makes it look like a photograph of your system.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay. I've seen other systems like that. Not that particular one, but yeah.
But there are some where you have a smart object and put them on there. The PSD covers one is really nice because they're tiny, because it's all in action. Everything's generated.
Oh, okay. See, I think I've used Live Surface. Have you seen that one?
I have. It's the same idea.
Okay.
But so for this one, to generate a digital mock-up is what I'm thinking here. So for a final piece here.
I love that.
I think the numbers right there are just random. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
All right. Then this exercise right here, big, medium, small, I'm going to have them design a simple poster, like a lost dog poster, and then put them in an environment where the poster looks huge, and then one where it looks kind of normal, and one where it looks really small. But it's the same poster.
Okay.
So that it deals with scale in real life, in environment, so that they're thinking through that.
Yeah, you've got to make adjustments so that it's visible at all sizes.
And also, like when they do their stationery, they always make their type too big or they make really tiny stuff.
Tiny.
But you adjust to what's comfortable for you on screen, but it doesn't necessarily in physical environment do that.
Yep.
So that's a new exercise there. Okay, type journal again. And then this one asks questions like, where did you find your mock-up stuff? Do you think you'll use a template like this?
Great.
You have to do the assignment again. What advice would you give yourself? What software did you use? I don't remember what that says right there. But this is kind of finishing everything up. Okay, I'm just remembering something. Have the video presentations been valuable?
I think they are to a certain extent. I mean, I don't know. They're definitely not my favorite part of the course. But I mean, I do see the value behind them. I think it's important for them to develop presentation skills. And a lot of times, I mean, even when you're working online now, I mean, just like you're doing right now, you're presenting the changes to the course to me online. I think that's more and more the way people are starting to work. I mean, you have to be able to present online. So I think it's a good skill for them. I wouldn't necessarily think you'd need to take it out. I think,
What if we did it where they met together in groups and presented to each other like I'm doing right now and record the video.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I think that would give them a lot more accountability for their presentations. Um,
There could
I
also be
think it's a great
questions.
idea. Yeah, and the course has Adobe Connect rooms for the groups to use, and
Hmm.
Adobe Connect allows them to record very easily as well. So I
Okay.
think it would be a real easy thing to add to the course.
Okay. So I think that that's something that we can do where they meet and make presentations, or they could even meet and do presentations like with you, like each group meets for 20 minutes or half an hour or something like that and makes the
Hmm.
presentations.
It could even become part of the critiques, maybe. I wonder if we
Uh-huh.
could make that work in a confined time frame. Um, yeah, that could be a really good way to combine both presentations with critiques. If we were able to
Mhm.
do that live
Okay.
together.
Well, if do you know, I went through and listened to some today from the 235 class as well as the 230 class, and
Uh-huh.
they sound pretty canned. And I thought, are they really getting what they need out of this?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I think that performing live might give them a little bit more. Um, um, okay. I also on the photos, just a random thing. Um, I thought it would be nice to have them get photos of them working or part of their process or things like that that they
Oh
could use in
yeah,
these photos. Just
that would be fun.
like what is your workspace like or and stuff like
Hmm.
that. I want them to be something. I want the questions to be enough that they might wonder. Well, I wonder what everybody else said
Right.
on that.
I think it adds a
So
fun element to it. It gives them more to interact over as well. So
okay.
that's great.
Okay, so module 9 here. This one's space and meaning. You know this assignment, right?
Hmm.
Okay. This one, I'll show you an example in just a minute. This one is type and texture. This one you create 5 um, justified blocks of text that are
Hmm.
different values,
Hmm.
and then you compose with those inside of the space. And so what what I learned from this assignment that I wasn't expecting was that the students learned how to set justified text and get it small enough or get the blocks wide enough, and we worked with hyphenation and justification to get a smooth color.
Great. And
That
got
was
rid of rivers.
yeah, it was totally unexpected. I didn't expect to get that out of this assignment, but that's what we did, and we got some pretty cool stuff out of it. So I'll show you some of those in just a minute.
Awesome.
Um, Hierarchy here is also an assignment from the book, and this is a crime blotter. And so it's like
Mhm.
date, location, crime, officer, time, and things like that. And so this one, this is the first time they create paragraph and character styles and,
Okay.
and create a little thing that shows a series that can easily be reproduced with the
Yeah, these are
content.
some great exercises. I'm loving
Okay.
this.
And then those assignments are all graded, those first 3 assignments are all graded a little bit more than just a regular, that, to put a little bit of weight on them. But
Hmm.
then the next one is a long list assignment. And this one, I want them to come up with 20 ideas of things they could do for the long list.
Hmm.
So that's what they do on this page.
Now, is
Um,
all of this replacing Project 3 then?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, so the typogram's gone.
Gotcha. Okay.
I haven't missed it. I hate that assignment. I
Yeah,
hate
there's
it.
a lot of repeats for sure.
But you know what? There's a lot of repeats, and there's actually a book in our classroom that I don't know who bought it, but everyone that everyone's ever done is in it.
Oh, nice.
I looked through it. Everyone that I thought was original is there.
Yeah.
So so
We
anyway,
could make our own art230 typogram book.
we can. Um, so there's this. They come up here with ideas of things that they can do.
Hmm.
Um, Ridiculous is okay. You know, I want them to do some exploring on this. And then they create the content for the list. It's going to have a title and a subtitle. Um, um, so you include the number 40 in there somewhere. There's examples of this in in our text.
Oh, okay.
It's called brain shopping or something like that. I
Brain.
did brain shopping for the last 2 semesters, and then last semester I let them do their own, and they turned out much better when they pick their own content.
Okay.
But I like them when they pick the content. It's nice for them to have a kind of a title for it and then a little descriptive sentence. It's more interesting typographically than just
Mhm.
like an album name or something like that. Because sometimes I'll do like the 40 best albums or something like that, and then they just list the albums. That's not as exciting as if it's maybe has the album and then the best single from the album or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
So there's the content. Then they do sketches on ways that they could lay that out. That is not right. This is all they do there. And then there's an assignment with paragraph and character styles. This is the paragraph character style one. And maybe this is actually incorporated into that other, the crime blotter. We might be able to do something with that to make.
Crime blotter.
The crime blotter is this one, the hierarchy one, where the date and time, the crime. You look up the police blog and you find out when crimes were created in your neighborhood and stuff like that. There's an example. I'm sorry I don't have the pages here. There's an example of these in the textbook, the crime blotter.
Okay.
Type in texture, there's not an example, but the crime blotter, the hierarchy one, there is.
Okay, I'll go take a look after we get off then.
Okay. Type journal again, and then ponder page.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do, the next week, they do three comp ideas for their poster,
Mm-hmm.
and then the final poster. And there's scale again, the pencil for scale. It's going to be 16 by 20 poster. And then they do a digital comp showing the poster like at a bus stop or in a subway station or something.
Now, is this a new project or is it more of an exercise, the poster?
You know, this whole thing is, this whole chunk right here of these type exercises and the long post type is one assignment.
Okay, okay.
Because it's pretty fast. The first three occur. The first three occur almost in one day, and then the type poster, they get the idea one week, and then they execute it the next week. It's really fast.
Okay.
But you deal with hierarchy on this one to make something really big and something really small, and to make things small enough when you're starting to deal with the 16 by 20 format and things like that.
Okay.
So poster, and then the journal there, and then and then this one, they start getting this is the web style guide, and we've done in the past the grid exercise. Here's what I've experimented with. I'm thinking of calling, can I say this here anywhere? I want them to find an interview of someone that they're interested in. This semester I had them find an interview, but just all interview doesn't work very well. But I want them to think of it as a style guide, and they have, so they do research. They put an image and a caption, and so they can actually find the image and put the caption there. They can create a list. They can put their body copy in here. They can have a little question and answer section. They put a block quote here, and then if there's more question and answer, whatever, but they should have approximately that much to fill up the website.
Okay.
So I'll need to be a little bit more clear on this, but this is all of the content for their website. But I want them to have an experience designing a list, body copy, question and answer format, block quote, images and captions, and so they compile it together. So this might, let's suppose that David Bowie, there's an interview, so you might have David Bowie's top 3 albums. You might have a question and answer with him, something he said, an image with him here. There might be a little bit of a description of what he might have done or something. And so you just pull some pieces together that function on that page. The premise being it's a style guide that if another interview were to be done, someone could look at it and recreate it for somebody else.
Okay.
For different content.
No,
I'm
you've
not.
used this in class already?
Do you know what I did? I haven't done it written down, but I did do this verbally in class because they did all question and answer. And when
Uh-huh.
it came with all question and answer, it's like, okay, add a list to there, break that up with a list, or put a quote from someone, or a interesting fact about them, or something, because the question and answer got a little bit monotonous through the whole page.
Right.
But it is kind of nice, actually, that the format, question and answer format, is kind of nice. And
Yeah.
so some question and answer, and then some um, just different elements. So I have to just be specific about the elements that they need to do.
That
But
sounds
they
like
turned out pretty
fun.
nice. They turned out pretty nice. This next part here, I'm not quite sure. I was just trying to think of them going through and tagging everything, and the only thing they change is the color of the text.
Uh-huh.
Like, don't, if it's a headline, make it a headline, whatever. Just tag it like this, so you're not. But don't worry about spacing or anything like that to start off with. Just get everything tagged.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Um, and then I don't have that there. And then this, so there's they drop it in and they start formatting. Can I show you? I need to show you something that made my day the other day. It's so
Okay.
awesome. It's just awesome. Okay, let's suppose that I decide I'm going along here and I decide for whatever strange reason that I want my text to be this color.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that is perfect. That is what I want. I can select that right here and go to my paragraph and character styles. And that is a body copy right there. I can go right here and say redefine style.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, no one told me that. I haven't known that.
Oh,
So,
that's fun.
so I think that's awesome. So,
It is awesome. InDesign is awesome.
and so anyway, what my thought is that as they style that page, that everything is just a different color.
Uh-huh.
They can update the styles, and they'll see everything updating as they're
Great.
as they're doing that. So they'll do the first draft, and then hierarchy on the web. Just have them go and find and take screen pictures of different kinds of hierarchy that
Okay.
they see. So it's just kind of a
Okay.
collection of stuff.
Yeah,
Type
that's
journal
great.
again, and this one,
I
this
feel
type.
like I'm constantly saying hierarchy, 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 but I'm glad to see something that forces them to go and find, to go and look at hierarchy, because I think, sometimes they're just like, huh? you know,
Yeah,
like, I just think it'll help a lot.
yeah. I hope so. And then I don't have anything on that. Okay, so and then they have the. I've got. I guess I just put four on there. I wrote five, but I only put four in there. Um, for head information for branding, the web branding,
Hmm.
navigation, and then the second draft of that, the website, and then grid basics. I don't know what to put here, but something to introduce grid.
Hmm.
I haven't figured that out yet. I
Are
don't
there
know.
any ideas from the textbook? I know there are some sample exercises on the website. Trying to think if there's anything that I've done in the past that would help with grid. I'll have to think about that. I can send you an email if I find anything.
Okay, I'm shocked how hard of a concept this is.
It really is. I mean, I think it's hard for everybody, at least to grasp it first. I think once you get it, it's like riding a bicycle. I mean, you just know and you can do it, right? But
Mhm.
getting there is a little bit difficult.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking of putting here as an exercise there. Type journal, and then Brockman, his quote on the, if there's going to be someone to quote about grid, it should be Brockman.
Right.
Um, so then we'll do the final website will be due that week, and then they'll do a digital comp to show what the screen looks like on an iPad or a computer screen or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, and then start yelling for
Now,
the
are you
book.
going
And
to
so
provide them with resources? So, does that PSD covers, do they offer?
it's all
Um,
free.
So do they offer websites and things that they can mock up their
Yes,
websites? Oh, perfect. Okay.
yes. Yeah, they do. Some of them are better than others, but they do. And there's
Hmm.
also, if you go online and start searching, it doesn't take very long before you've discovered lots of options.
Right. Now, did you include a link to PSD covers in the
I haven't
workbook?
yet. I haven't yet, but I will. I
Okay.
will do that. Um, so then this assignment, they get the content all ready for their final booklet,
Uh-huh.
and they need about that much content. So I just put a talk in there and set it, and that's about much content they need, which they need to know because sometimes they choose some of the short talks, and they need to know that they about how much content they need.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then I want to do a mind map. Like once you've read through that article, what are some of the main ideas there? What are some things that um,
Mm-hmm.
they don't really get very conceptual with this assignment, and I think that's okay. But when they do, it's nice
Right.
when they can do it. That some nice things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so do a mind map, and then do some concept thumbnails of the um, with the grid and everything on it right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will do the first draft layout so they can see what that looks like, put things in there. And then two spreads, so two larger spreads to see what it looks like. And
Mm-hmm.
then on this one, this is collaborative software, and I want to have them make a diagram on how InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator work together.
Oh, okay. I think
Just so
that's
they,
great.
just so they start thinking about what is Illustrator, what kind of a tool is that, and how do they
Mm-hmm.
work together? What are the advantages?
Yeah,
So
I have so many students who come in who have no idea why they would ever use InDesign. They just come in hating it because they're overwhelmed, and then they start getting into some of these projects, and they're like, "Oh, now I understand that InDesign is, meant for typesetting and for book design, and now I love it." And so it's really interesting to see the change. But yeah, I like this exercise because it forces them to think through it.
so and I don't and the other thing is all these exercises should take no more than an hour. When they
Okay.
do this, I want them to design something nice, but but I just want them to kind of step back and think about it for just a minute
Okay.
because we're starting to place things from all those sources. All right, and then have them do three different covers and
Mhm.
choose the best cover, and then do the second draft, and that's that one. And then week 13 is the final draft, and then there's a digital comp beauty shot. And this is something I can't find anything that's exactly the 7 by whatever format. And so
Mhm.
we can change
The dimensions.
the dimensions, or we can we can I can look through it and try to alter one of the PSD the actions and see if we can get it to work.
Well, I
But
wonder if changing the dimensions actually might help them a little bit, because I know for those, most of the students pick pretty long articles, and they're not able to do a lot with pacing within the booklet because there's just not enough room. It's mainly just columns of type. So if you
mhm.
change the dimensions just a little bit, so it was slightly larger, then maybe they'd have more room to work with pacing.
If we did an A4 magazine,
Uh-huh.
um, there's lots of templates for that.
Oh, okay.
So that's a possibility. I just don't want it to look like the enzyme, even though a lot of them do.
That's true. I mean, it's meant to be a booklet that's included as an extra with the enzyme, right? I mean,
It
that's
does.
kind of the way I understood it.
Do you know? I've been telling the students that it's a gift book. It's a talk that means something to you and you want to share with somebody.
Oh, okay.
And so it's something you want to give as a gift for someone you care about.
Okay.
That's the way I've been trying to So it's a precious, make a little precious, nice thing. So,
So maybe the dimensions don't matter so much then.
well, what if, should we make it longer?
Oh yeah, we could do that.
Would that
Maybe
kill
just
them?
add one more spread.
Well, if we add, well, we would have to add 4 more pages
Oh, to make it
because they're
even.
saddle stitched.
Mhm. Um.
We can talk about this
Yeah, let's talk about that.
because we could make it taller too. Like we could make it, is it 7 by 9 or whatever it could be.
Because I know they get a little bit overwhelmed just with the amount that they have right now. I was just thinking that it'd be nice if they could get better pacing in there.
Mm-hmm.
But if we give them too many pages, I'm worried about overwhelming them. I don't know. Something to think about.
This is a question that I asked myself because initially when I gave this assignment, my hope was that they would do really cool books. They're not
Mhm.
really ready to do really cool books, but they are
Mhm.
ready to learn how to do just some nice typesetting.
Mhm.
And so I've started kind of opting for the really nice typesetting versus something blow your socks off design just
Right.
um, so that they, can you read from page to page? Do you want to read? Have you given them a hook? Have you welcomed a reader to the piece? Do people need to bother turning the page, or do they all look the same?
Mhm.
What are they done? I did notice. I don't recall whether they were on yours, but Debbie's students used a lot of photos.
Oh, did they? Yeah,
Um,
no, I tell them no.
I let them use one photo of the person,
Right.
and the reason that I did that is so they have to put a caption.
Yep. Mhm. That's all that
Um,
I've allowed them to do as well.
um, so anyway, just I think that if we can get on the same page of what the goal is for the piece,
Mhm.
um, I think that would be helpful. Okay.
Maybe we need to update the instructor notes. I mean, it's unfortunate that Debbie's not here tonight, so we can just talk about it right now. But I mean, if anyone else ever comes into the course, they're going to need to know
Right.
um, some of these teacher goals.
Right. But that's what, do you remember at the beginning when I showed the rubric?
Uh-huh.
That's another thing that it will be clear to the instructor.
What they're looking for.
This is what you're evaluating. It's not like, is it a good piece? I don't know. This is important to me, but did because if pacing is important to us, is there pacing? Because
Hmm.
unless we say that, the students won't even pay attention to that.
That's true. Yeah.
So
So the rubric is just included at the beginning, though, right? It's not included with every project.
the rubric will be included. Let me show you. Um, um, each each week, at the end of each week or whatever, there will be module
Mhm.
4 rubric. These are the things we're looking for.
Okay.
This. So every module will have a rubric.
Great. So they'll be able to see that every time now. I think that's
Uh-huh.
really helpful for both the students and the instructors.
So just you know what you're focusing on. And then there's
Hmm.
all of the pages there, and then a final finish up there.
Yeah, Scott, this is so much more clear, and I love the extra exercises. I love the ponder pages. I mean, I think this will be much more conducive to online.
Okay.
I'm really excited about it.
And you're okay dropping the blog altogether?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. It's gone.
I think that just simplifies things. I know I've had a lot of students complain about having so many different websites to go to. Um, so having everything in iLearn will be really beneficial to both me and them. I'll be able to keep track of what they're doing a little bit better. I just think it's a good idea.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get there. Um, so when you go into you have access to the master section then of 230.
I think so, because so I have access to a fall section, and I saw some unread messages in there, and they were things that you had posted, different questions, sort of, I honestly don't
Oh,
remember what they were. They were a couple of weeks ago, or within the last couple
oh,
of weeks.
okay. I was trying to do something because I've never used discussion boards. I was trying to see if I could include um, pre pre discussions already pre-formatted stuff, like
Okay.
some topics that were already there.
Yeah.
So when they open it up, but I'm not sure that will work. But that was what I thought it would do. But I've never used them, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. I don't know. Are you trying to connect them to the Ponder pages, or what exactly were you thinking?
No, I'm just sort of thinking about it when they're doing their feedback critique.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
And the other thing is that I know that we talked about that the textbook and quizzes and things
Uh-huh.
that becomes all a discussion, and it's just like beyond the reading, they find something from the reading and they just share that with each other in the discussion board.
I would love that. I would really like to see the students interacting more with each other. I think that's one thing that we got out of these live critiques this week was they were able to interact with each other more than they had previously. They really don't participate in the group work much. They don't talk to each other. They don't talk about what they're learning. I would really like to see them using some discussion boards to learn from each other.
Okay. So anyway, that's the thought on the, instead of quizzes, they'll do the
Mhm.
reading, and then let's suppose that in the first section they see something about Jan Chickold or something. They can write
Mhm.
about him, and someone goes, he was interesting to me too. I thought that this was interesting, and then just talk with each other.
Yep. Yep. I think that would be awesome. So we would have that one, and then we'd also have a critique board, right?
Yes. Is
Okay.
that too? Is it getting too much again?
No, I think that works really well. Let's just keep it to maybe those two, and then we'll give it a try, and I can let you know how it goes.
Okay, and we're going to do um, an instructor by the name of Roger Nichols is going to be teaching the course on campus in the fall. And
Uh-huh.
I will try to get all of us together, um, but he's just so that we're kind of all on the same page and
Yeah, that would be
doing
great.
this. So um, this I saw that you applied for the 235 section as well.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
um, how how many sections can you teach? Do you know?
So they will only allow me to teach 2 classes per semester. They do
Okay.
have a limit. Um, I was contacted, I don't know, a month or two ago about possibly teaching a second section of 230.
Hmm.
Um, and I did that last fall as well, and I loved it, but it's very uncertain. It all depends on student enrollment, and so I haven't heard anything more. I don't know if I will actually have that second section this fall. And then, in winter and spring, I didn't have the section, so I'm hoping to get to a point where I can consistently count on 2 classes every semester. And I think the best way to do that is probably to have 2 different courses, just because they never know whether or not they can promise me 2 sections of the same course.
Would you be interested in the intro to graphic design class?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I got your name, and everyone that applied for that class I turned down.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I did give your name and another person's name for the 130. But
Uh-huh.
just because I like you,
Thank you.
don't don't take it right away. Okay, give us a semester. It's a nightmare.
Okay. So it still needs some cleanup, maybe?
Do you know what? It was the first one we did, and it really is asking way too much of the students. And our
Gotcha.
instructors that are in there are like, if you don't fix this, we're leaving.
Gotcha.
So my goal at this fall is to get the 130 class just like what we just showed with the 230 class.
Okay,
To
awesome.
try to get it in the same format. So 130, 230, and 235 will all be formatted the same.
Awesome. Well, that'll make things really consistent. The students should know right what they're doing as soon as they come into 230 as well.
Yeah. And then, because if you want if you want two courses a semester, if you were to
Hmm.
teach 130, you would always guarantee 130, 230, there will always be sections of those.
Awesome. Okay. That would be fantastic.
Because right now with 235, we're only offering one section, and so there aren't any new sections of that. Although
Hmm.
we do need to, we can't rely on just one instructor. We need
Right.
someone there in case something happens, because that happens all the time.
Yeah, well,
Someone
I would
gets
be
out
really
there.
grateful for that opportunity. So
We'll
if you
try to
have
get you.
information.
We'll do the best we can to get you two sections a semester. Okay.
Okay, great. I would
Let
love
me
that.
know. Let me know if this fall, if I'll check. I'll do some checking on campus too, and I'll find out how many sections of typography we're offering.
Okay.
Just for your information though. Um, um, we were talked with President Clark, and we asked him about online students, and
Hmm.
he said that by 2000 and fall of 2017, that we'll have 25,000 online students.
Wow.
Now, another thing, just to be aware of it, those 25,000 students will all exist within about 8 majors,
Oh,
and
wow.
one of them is web design and development, which are these courses.
Hmm.
So the demand is only going to go up.
Right.
So there's
That's
also
incredible.
some pretty interesting talk about possible full-time online instructors. So,
Gosh, that would be great if they are able to swing that. I would definitely be interested. So,
so anyway, I think there's some good things coming. We just need to figure out how
yeah.
to make these, what works, and keep making them better and better, so that we.
Yeah,
So
well, I mean, from what I can see, I mean, you've made this so much more user friendly for the students. I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to test it out.
okay. Well, just if you have suggestions or see things that will be helpful, I know you guys are on the front line, and I feel
Yeah.
kind of blind a little bit, trying to. I kind of hear things and I think, well, okay, let's try this, but
Uh-huh.
I want it to be a pleasant experience for everybody involved. So
Hmm. I
because
agree.
it needs to be, just has to
It
be.
does. It does. Well, and I have students who mention the difference between being on campus and online and how it's just not the same. And so it would be great if we could get them as excited about the course online as they are about taking a class on campus, so they don't feel sort of gypped. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing is that one of the reasons that they're increasing the majors, the web design and development, and these students need to be better. We need to really up
Mhm.
the expectation,
Mhm.
um, because if we're going to start producing a whole bunch of these people, they've got to be good. We can't just produce a whole bunch of bad people.
Right. That is the truth.
That's not a good idea.
No.
Um, so anyway, it's the online is growing super fast.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't believe that. It seems like they're really putting an emphasis on that at BYU Idaho, right? I mean, this isn't something that BYU Provo or BYU Hawaii is doing, is it? I mean, it's mainly BYU Idaho that's taking on the online
Do you know what?
environment.
All of the institutions are doing the online environment, but we
Uh,
are doing it quite a bit more than anyone else.
Everyone else.
President President Clark told us the other day that um, BYU Provo has their independent study courses and
Hmm.
continuing education, but as far as offering credit undergraduate classes, he
Hmm.
said last year BYU offered something like 18,000 units or something like that. And I don't know what that unit meant, but we
Hmm.
offered over 100,000.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, that is quite a difference.
we're like, we're 800% more. I just think that
Yeah.
I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. It won't work. But we're yes. The whole purpose is that members of the church need education, and if the
Mhm.
church is going to provide education, how do we provide it to as many people as possible in a quality
Possible.
way?
Mhm.
And so that's the hope and the goal that we're looking for right now. So
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed. I mean, I kind of wondered if maybe they were focusing, so at BYU Provo, if maybe the focus was more on graduate education or preparing students for graduate programs, and then BYU Idaho seemed to be focusing on providing education to the most amount of people possible by doing these online programs, and then Hawaii just seems to be like that bridge school where they are able to provide it to a diverse crowd. Where they mostly come on campus. So anyway, it was just a
yeah,
thought that I had.
yeah. BYU Idaho, BYU Hawaii's tends to be quite a bit more international. A lot of Asian
Hmm.
students and from the Philippines and things, but it's pretty small. There's only like 2,500 students. It's not very big.
Yeah, it's not. No, my husband actually went there, so we've got a
Do you like it?
connection to all three schools. He loved it. Yeah, the only reason he didn't go back was because he met me. So he had come home for a summer, and we met while we were in Provo. He was working for my brother-in-law, and anyway, he never went back to BYU Hawaii.
Have you been over there?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's a nice place. I picked
yeah.
pineapple when I was 16, so I went over once.
Ah, yeah, it's fun. You
Not a
should go
long time
back.
ago. Yeah, I should. I should. I need to take my wife back. Anyway,
Definitely.
I hope. Anyway, we'll keep making this better. I appreciate your efforts for us. I hear good things, so I'm hopeful that this will keep going forward. So
Oh yeah, so am I.
okay,
We're on the
all right,
same page.
okay, and we'll get
Thank
we'll
you.
get 130 in shape, and either get you two sections of 230 or one of each of those for. So we'll try to get
Awesome.
you two sections all the time.
Thank you so
Okay,
much. That would be
you're
great.
welcome.
I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. Okay, we'll talk soon.
All
We'll
right,
see.
have a good night.
Okay, bye.
Bye.